Okay, let's talk about the supplies for the fly module. Ideally, you're supposed to have some flies first, right? But we don't have flies because the research lab is closed. For this lab, you need two different fly lines. And then this is a tube for fly to choose either they prefer light or they prefer dark. And we have funnel for transfer flies. And these are the temporary tubes for fly to stay when we count them. And this is the light source and this is the ruler. So if you turn on the light, you're gonna have red light, and we need to measure this light source has to be 11 centimeters from the fly maze. Okay, and this is the fly maze. Let's take a look of the fly maze. First of all, the centerpiece of the fly maze has a hole in here. So if you put the fly maze in position number 1, you're going to see the centerpiece hole will be connected to here. So if you have flies in the centerpiece, they will be able to go either directions. Or if you connected these holes together, the flies will be able to choose staying here or go to the dark if the fly is in position number 1. If you go position number 2, so the centerpiece is closed and all these 2 holes are closed too. So if you connect the fly maze with this tube, if you position number 2, they either stuck here or stuck here. They won't be able to go anywhere. All right, if you go to position number 3, you notice there is a hole here and that's connected to the centerpiece. Okay, if you put your fly tubes in here, you will be able to collect flies from the centerpiece. Okay, so now let's talk about how the experiment is being done. First of all, if you have a fly in here, you need to transfer the fly into here. How do you transfer? If you open the cap here, if there are fly here, they're gonna go all over the places. So the first thing you do, you can tap your fly tubes like this, so the flies will go all the way to the bottom. And once the flies in the bottom, you are going to connect these things. Tap the tube. Once they go to the bottom, and quickly dump the flies like this and keep tapping, and all the flies will stuck in here. Tap and cover the tube with your thumb. Okay, so that's how you transfer the flies here. And your lab menu said you have to connect the tube to the fly maze. So first one, make sure that your fly maze is position number 2, and you are going to make sure that flies at the bottom and stick the tube here. Okay, it's still number 2, so the fly will be trapped in here. And then you are going to put the other tube in here and get that thing ready and have your light source ready, which has to be 11 centimeter away from the light. 11 centimeter away from the light. Okay, and then once everything is ready, you are going to turn on the light, start the timer, and then put this centerpiece in position number 1 and start your timer for 1 minute. So, okay. Alright, 1 minute later, you're going to turn that off and place your centerpiece in position number 2. So there should be some flies maybe trapped in the centerpiece, but there are flies say here, which means these flies are prefer light, and there's flies goes in here, which means these flies are like dark. They like dark. Okay, so now we need to transfer these flies into these temporary tubes so we'll be able to count them. So first of all, I'm going to transfer these flies into the light tube. So I'm going to open the tube here and place my funnel into the tube, and then first one I need to tap it so the flies all trapped in the bottom. So when I open that, I'll be able to cover it up. I make sure that my fly maze is still at number 2 position. I'm gonna leave that by the side, and I'm gonna dump all the flies into the temporary tube here. I'm gonna knob it. I assume there are flies in here, and then we cover it. Okay, so this is the light preferred flies. Okay, I'm gonna put that on ice, and we'll later on when they fall asleep, we'll be able to count them. The flies from the dark to the temporary tube, right? First one I need to tap the fly maze So make sure the flies are all go to the bottom, and then I'm gonna seal that with my thumb. They're safe, stay here. Now I'm gonna put the funnel in here. I'm gonna tap a little bit to make sure they are still at the bottom. I'm going to flip it and tap. Now flies should be go to the bottom, and then I'm going to cover it really quick. So this one's going to go ice. This is for dark. So these are the flies trapped in the dark part. Okay, now I have some flies in the centerpiece. To get the flies from the centerpiece, I need the fly maze to go from number 2 to number 3. But before we go that, we need to put the tube. This is the tube that I used earlier. So there's no flies there. There should be empty. And then I put the tube in here and turn the fly maze into position number 3. So the centerpiece is open to this direction. Now if I tap, all the flies in the centerpiece will go into this tube. I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to transfer that into my temporary tube. So same thing, we need a funnel, and tap it, and dump it, and tap. Now I'm going to quickly close the tube. Now we have all the flies trapped in the centerpiece transferred in here. And put that thing on ice. So after they fall asleep, you will be able to count all these flies in different tubes.